Oh, hello. Today's video is a new episode of Kill Team Shower Thoughts. And today I'm pondering, should Games Workshop let Kill Team die? Now, don't worry, I've not gone off Kill Team, but I have got a point to this. Recently, they've been launching all the indexes for the new version of Warhammer 40,000, which comes out on Saturday. And I'm sure we're all looking forward to that, but this isn't a video about that. But it has kind of clarified in my mind there are 27 factions in 40k right now, and some of those are arguable. I think Imperial Agents, technically you could run an army of Imperial Agents, but they're not designed to be run as an army. And then on the sort of second tier of questionable, you can look at Blood Angels, Black Templars, Dark Angels, and Space Wolves and go, are they factions? Are they more supplements? Do they count? But for the purposes of this, we'll say there's 27 factions in 40k, and we know that the 40k balance isn't always wonderful. There are some really interesting matchups already looking at the 10th edition stuff, like, you want to play AdMech into Dark Angels? Don't know. Weird interactions. How many kill teams are there? Well, there's 16 compendium teams. Originally there were 19 compendium teams, but they did turn 4 of them off. So 16 compendium teams listed down the left-hand side there, and then season 1 gave us 8 core teams in the 4 core boxes, plus another 6 bonus teams, you know, the Star Striders and the Gallopaux in the annual, and the 4 White Dwarf teams. And then Season 2 gave us another 8 teams, and we got Season 2 bonus teams. We got the Intercession Squad PDF, and then Inquisition and the Chaos Cults in Ashes of Faith, right? And we know that we're getting Season 3, which is going to be 8 more teams, plus we already know 1 Season 3 bonus team, the Space Marine Heroes box. So by the end of Season 3... there's going to be 50 legal ways, 50 legal different teams that you can use to play Kill Team. Now, again, you can argue, well, the compendium teams don't really count. I mean, there are people out there on the internet, believe it or not, that will fight you on that point, right? Whether or not compendium counts. You know, there are bits of the compendium, Plague Marines, Talons, Hive Fleet, you know, people still, like, insist are valid. So 50, there are 50 ways, or there will be at the end of Season 3, right? If you want to take the number for what's available right now, if you want the smallest number, 25, right? Plus 16 compendium teams, plus 9 future teams that we know about. So you take the number that you want to take, but either way, it's either just shy, and I would say, by the way, that if you're insisting on saying, well, there are 25 there are 25 kill teams, right? But you know, because we're not counting anything in the compendium, that's silly, and we're not counting stuff that's not out yet, because that's silly. But there are definitely the biggest possible number, right? There are definitely 27 factions for 40k, because Imperial Agents definitely counts. Like, I would suggest that you're arguing in poor faith, right? So, you know, you can define the numbers how you like, but there will soon be, if not already, more factions for Kill Team than there are factions for 40k. Now, that's bad, right? Isn't it? Because, look, I love Kill Team. Kill Team is close to perfect. It's my favourite Games Workshop game. It's probably my most played Games Workshop game, right? Even netting together, like... certainly, if you tank all the editions of 40k as separate editions, I think I have played more games of Kill Team than any one edition of 40k. I think that's definitely true, because I have played it with with some gaps. I've played it most weeks, once a week, since the Chalnath box came out, plus events, and I've gone to quite a lot of events at Warhammer World. I don't think there's any game I've played as many games of within one edition than it is Kill Team. I love it. It's the only game I've ever really been motivated to do organised play with. I mean, I did one Shadow Spear. Shadow Spear's not a thing. Warhammer Underworld's Shadespire, right? I did one Warhammer World Shadespire event. I did one local Shadespire event just to see if they were for me. I did one Kill Team 8. I did play some Kill Team 18 games, semi-organised play, like 4 or 5 of them. But they were in like the local Games Workshop when Games Workshop still seemed to do events. But certainly, Kill Team 21 is the only game I'd say I'd done any organised play with. I really do love this game, and I think it's truly amazing. But we are getting to the point, I think, where there are too many teams to keep them balanced. And even if you say that Elliot's the best, you just say that the Kill Team development team and the Kill Team playtesters are just of a higher caliber, right? Of a higher caliber than the guys at 40k. Because I don't know if you've been following the 40k stuff. I am not as the sky is falling as most people. Like, I'm generally happy with 10th edition. But the AdMech list is flaming garbage. Like, that is a thing that you can go and look at and be like, well, they've clearly dropped the ball here. So, and that's their flagship product. So maybe Kill Team's going to be better at balance, but even with that, you're going to get some teams that just fall into irrelevance. And I know there are people that are waiting for their team, and I'm especially mindful of the kind of Tyranid players, the Plague Marine, the Death Guard, players, the Grey Knights players, and the Talons players. The 4 that don't even have anything that even vaguely, you could, Death Guard players, I suppose, could play all Nurgle Legionaries. Yeah, but they don't look like Death Guard, do they? I only say that because I'd love to paint Death Guard. I wouldn't really love to paint a bunch of Legionaries, but you could use the Legionaries. But certainly, Custodes, Grey Knights, someone's probably going to say, oh, well, you could just proxy Grey Knights with Intercessors. Could you really? Could you? Tyranids? Definitely, there's nothing similar to Tyranids, right? I feel for those people, but you know what's worse? Potentially, getting your team, I think Novitiates would be a great example of a team that this is already starting to happen to. They're not broken. They're not too underpowered. They're just sort of irrelevant. They're just sort of slightly subpar in that place where no one's going to call for them to get a buff because they vaguely have this memory of, there was once upon a time Novitiates were really powerful, and if a really good player picked them up again, they could be really powerful again. So giving them a buff would upset the meta. And this isn't me arguing for a Novitiate buff, by the way. They've just been making a point. They're not going to get buffed. They don't need to get nerfed. They're just a bit underpowered. Just nobody takes them. They're just not a particularly popular team. And the more teams you add, right, the more teams that kind of fall into that bracket of, well, these were good once back in the day, everybody raved about them, and now for just whatever reason people have kind of drifted away, stopped taking them because there's someone else out there that does the things that attract you to that team slightly better or in a way that's slightly more attractive to you. And I don't think we have to have continual releases for a game, in theory, right? Like, Scrabble still exists. You can go and buy a copy of Scrabble, and Mattel must be quite happy with the money they get from selling Scrabble, and they don't try and go, Scrabble, but now with numbers, or Scrabble, but now with vague concepts. They don't mess with it. I don't want Kill Team to become this thing with, what is the how do we get off the bus? If we're going to have 50 teams by the end of 3rd edition, and what do? Okay, well, they invalidate the compendium teams. Cool, right? That's still 47 teams. No, sorry, 37 teams. Still more than 40k. And then you launch into a new season and you start releasing more teams. Do you eventually invalidate the commandos? Do you have a card game style seasons thing where these were the teams from the first 3 years of Kill Team. They're not really what we're playing with anymore. That's what they had to do with Warhammer Underworlds, right? They've got a weird rotation-y thing going on, as I understand it, or maybe they rode back on that, but people don't like that. People don't like being told, oh, that thing that you love isn't really part of the main. Oh, you can play it at home with your mates, sure. And even though most people play at home with their mates most of the time, nobody will. Everyone will go, yeah, but it's not official. I might one day go to a tournament, so I don't want to use a thing. People are that way. So what? I don't know. I mean, let's just go for a few things. So is it just greed? Is it just Games Workshop? They could totally just park the game, right? Finish Season 3, finish Space Marine Heroes, and then go, kill team, completed it, there we go, on the shelves, consolidated rulebooks, consolidated this, evergreen range, on the shelf, occasional, articles and campaigns in White Dwarf, right? But that's it, that's kill team, we've done it. It is Elliot's magnum opus. It's there. It's finished. He can move on to another game. You can buy it if you want it. You can still talk about it. You can still play it. And people go, no. I mean, this is one of the things with Games Workshop. There's been this whole little kettle of fish recently about how Leviathan was really easy to get hold of if you ordered from GW.com. But kind of annoying to get hold of still from independent retailers. And people are kind of thinking about how, well, Games Workshop aren't pushing new releases to an independent retailer much anymore. For example, now that the new whole range of 40k stuff is known, I'm looking at my entire Sisters of Battle army and I've gone, I'm going to need to pick up another box of Celestian Sacrosancts. One box of 5 models. And I will definitely order that from Element Games. Because that's a normal main range evergreen item. But if I try and reflect, what percentage of the things that I buy from Games Workshop are just things that I could buy that have been around for years, and what percentage of things that I buy from Games Workshop are things that I'm buying because I pre-ordered them last weekend, and now this weekend they've arrived in my house. And most of what let me know in the comments if this applies to you, most of what I buy, right, over 50%, certainly, I would say more like 80% of the money that I spend at GW is on new releases, is on me picking up something this week that didn't exist last week, right? And so Games Workshop obviously feel they need to keep making new releases because that seems to be the niche that they've got themselves into in terms of continually, that's where the money comes in. I don't know how much money they're getting from people walking. When was the last time somebody walked into Games Workshop and went, I want a squad of... I'm sure it must happen. People must go in and be like, you know what, I'm going to start a Space Marine army. I'll have 2 boxes of Intercessors and a Space Marine Captain, please, shopkeep. That must happen. But certainly, everybody I speak to is buying the new stuff most of the time. So yeah, you can make that argument that the kill team will always get new teams, even if it's bad for the game, because Games Workshop likes to acquire currency, like the public limited company they are, beholden to shareholders, needing to pay dividends. The whole thing about capitalism and having to have continual growth, even if you had a big growth year because of a pandemic, you've then somehow got to outgrow your growth. Yeah, I'm not that channel. I'm not able to try and shame a company for wanting to make a bit of cash. Let's just try and acknowledge that that's probably a consideration. But do you know, the thing is, it's not the only consideration. And I realise, instead of being angry at Games Workshop, Phil will get angry at his fellow hobbyists is a bit of a meme. I understand this, but hear me out here. I'm quite fond of a game called Aeronautica Imperialis. I haven't played as many games of it as I would like, but I like the rules. I enjoyed the games that I have played, and I've enjoyed the time I spent painting the little planes. They're cool. It's a good game. There's nothing wrong with it, but it is a dead game, right? I'm sure you've seen people saying, this game's dead, that game's dead, this game's dead. And what they invariably mean is, this game hasn't had any new releases lately, right? It doesn't bear any relationship to how good the game may or may not be, but it doesn't have new releases. Just like people's spending habits, I think, are totally kind of slaved in now to buying the new releases. Not totally, but with reasonable regularity, people are buying the new releases. The games people want to play are the ones that it all feeds into the same sort of dopamine loop, right? The game that's on your mind is the game that you've just seen some advertising for, which has a new product that you can go and buy. I'm not even saying that you want to go and play the game with the new product. I'm saying, paradoxically, that releasing Ashes of Faith and getting people talking about Ashes of Faith made more people want to play more games of Kill Team with whatever Kill Teams they already had. Right? Why? Because every time, this is not some kind of influencer secret, right? One of the easiest bits of content to make is Games Workshop are releasing a new thing for that system that my viewers are interested in. I'll talk about it for 8 minutes, right? Well, I've never in my life knowingly made an 8-minute video. If I was really good at YouTube, it would be an 8-minute video. I'll talk about it for 45 minutes, right? I love the sound of my own voice, sorry. But that's the easiest bit of content to do. So we're all part of the same hype machine, right? And if they release something, people make content about it, you listen to that content, you might not even buy the thing. But the fact that the thing has been made and released and put out fronts that game in your mind, right? Because people are talking about it, people are buzzing about it. You might not care about Ashes of Faith, but Ashes of Faith contributed to people playing more games of Kill Team. If they were releasing things continually for Aeronautica Imperialis, I'd play more Aeronautica Imperialis, even if what they're releasing was more things for the Orcs or the Necrons or the Elder. I like the Imperial Navy because I'm basic in that regard, I understand, right? But even if they were releasing loads of weird, horrible Xenos things that I don't really care about, the fact that they were doing it would motivate me to get the planes out and play a plane game, instead of getting the Kill Team out to play the Kill Team game. And I'm not saying this is the entire reason that nobody plays Aeronautica Imperialis. Aeronautica Imperialis and Adeptus Titanicus have a massive problem in that Games Workshop doesn't seem to be able to, sell you the rulebooks for these games on a reliable basis. And now they're bringing out Epic, or Legions Imperialis is going to be called. And I'm sure it's going to be awesome, and I'm sure it's going to be a great game, and I'm sure it's going to be marketed really well for 3 months, and then it's going to be a dead game. And it won't matter how fun or not the game is, or how popular or not the game is. The fact is that Games Workshop can't and shouldn't, arguably, continually support these games in perpetuity. And yet, whenever they don't do that, the game fades into irrelevance. So that's why there was the Grim Reaper on the first slide. If Games Workshop stops making Kill Teams, people will stop playing Kill Team and it will gradually die out. Right? If Games Workshop stops releasing Kill Team product, people will stop playing Kill Team. So we've got ourselves in this fun little situation now where I think most people would agree, probably 50 enough teams. Okay, so at the end of Season 3, what do? They're not going to stop. They can't stop. If they stop, that would actually be bad. Because if they stopped making new products, we'd stop talking about the game, and then people would stop playing the game. But we can't just go for another 3 years and have 100 teams. I can't hold that many things in my head. I don't even have 50 friends. I think that there are about 30 people in the world whose names I actually know, and I know enough details about their life to make them believe that I genuinely care about them, right? And I probably genuinely care about half of that many people. Okay, maybe I'm just a misanthrope, I don't know. But I can't remember the details of 50 different sets of little plastic men. I can't... So, do we inevitably have some kind of horrible reset for the new edition? We'll make a Compendium 2.0, ditch the Compendium 1, make a Compendium 2.0 with all the teams in, not 50 of them, all 40, 37 or whatever we said it would be, once the Compendium's taken out. Put them in a big rulebook once, and then don't touch it, and then make 3 seasons worth of teams for the new edition that are all better. Right, so you just have to get on the treadmill again, only instead of waiting for a codex to come to your army and then reusing the bulk of your army and having to tweak a few things, you're actually just having to buy a whole different kill team. See, because after the third season, there's going to be a new edition of Kill Team, because Games Workshop loves patterns. And if there's not a new edition of Kill Team, again, Kill Team will just die. Unless they just keep going with the seasons in perpetuity. So we get Season 4, Season 5, Season 6, Season 7, Season 8, Season 9, Season 10. Like, I realise this is a strange thing to worry about, but Kill Team is too successful. Is too successful, and we have to kind of confront what success looks like for a game where and the whole army can be one purchase. Often it's two, but sometimes it's one. And this is the problem with skirmish games. This is the problem with skirmish games for Games Workshop, and it always has been. Right? You can have a great time playing Kill Team with your box of Orc Commandos and your deck of cards and your pack of movement widgets and, a couple of books if you don't want to use Wikipedia, right? But that's not the same kind. They need to keep you buying more stuff that you actually literally can't use at the same time as the Kill Team that you started with. They need to keep you. And I feed into it. We all do. I mean, I just buy. In fairness, I didn't buy Galliful because it didn't appeal to me. That was the first one where I was like, actually, I don't want that box. But you need to keep buying the boxes, or the game dies. It's almost like you're a hostage. So. And again, this isn't supposed to be negative. I love Kill Team. It's my favourite Games Workshop game of all time. I want to keep playing it forever. I don't know if getting 9, 10 new teams every year is actually the best possible thing for the game's health. Please, I don't have a conclusion. If you have a suggestion, a thought, an inquiry, anything, just stick it in the comments. Join the discussion in the comments, or come onto the Discord. Join the discussion on the Discord. This has been my shower thought. I hope you found it entertaining, intellectual, challenging, amusing, something, right? Just something enjoyable. I'll take that. Not totally awful. I'd take that. If you're not subscribed and you've got this far, you probably like my styles. You should subscribe and like the video. I don't know what that does, but everyone says it, and it gives me an ego boost. So, like the video. Right. Good evening. Thank you. Go away and enjoy the rest of your evening, afternoon, whatever it is that you're doing. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye.